Well, I'm here with Don Saporito, right?
Yes, sir.
Don, you saw me walking over here, and you must be, you said, what was it? You're coming out here, you got a reason. It's because I saw your car. I was like, all right, that's different. And, Nova guy at Heart Dad's got a Nova. As I get, the thing I notice from a distance, of course, is the wing. Then I see, the other things you got going on here. And I wanted to hear from your words. I asked you, is the wing functional? Is it?
Absolutely. Yeah, the wing, it's off a top fuel car. We have a hook to the chassis. Some of these no prep guys have a hook to the rear end. And having a hook to the rear end is definitely has its benefits, because at high speeds it isn't pushing on the chassis. A lot of these cars like mine, we got them hooked to the chassis, and on the finish line, depending on how much downforce it's making, it'll actually wheelie across the finish line. Some cars do take flight. It is kind of dangerous. It's kind of like a teeter-totter, it's too much is not good, just right, is super effective. But it's an old Pro Mod 67 Chevy 2. We had Next Racing cut the front of the car off, and they put long travel suspension on it. This past year we've made quite a few changes. So anytime you make a change, there's a learning curve. We've been chasing that learning curve a little bit. We're getting a better handle on it, and hopefully we can do good today. I mean, it's going to be a good show. The surface is going to be tricky, especially first couple rounds, and the amount of competition, the level of competition. Man, I tell you what, people travel a long ways to see the cars that are in this kind of competition. So here's my crew chief. This is Damien. We just had a discussion. We pulled a lot of weight out of the car. We're trying some different things, placing the weight in different spots. He wants to keep the car light. I think that's a bad move, especially this early on. The surface is really bare, and to the point where it's kind of dangerous. So we're going to try to leave the car a little bit heavy, especially first round, and bring the power in gradual. But hopefully it's enough. But it's who you draw and what pair you are is going to determine the tune-up and setup. So
see, that's what I found interesting, like I said about the wing, is that it's actually like it legitimately makes that much of a difference, that it provides that much more downforce on these surfaces.
A lot of people are pretty secretive. I mean, you can get some pretty decent data online if you start Googling it. The surface area across the front, the width determines a lot of the calculations, but also the pitch. A lot of these no prep guys, they're running a really heavy pitch, real high pitch. It's over 30%, which for a top fuel guy, he would laugh at you. That's something that you don't normally would do. We run a real slight degree and use the wing kind of like it's intended. When you see them running that heavy pitch, typically what I would think it's used for like early on to give you traction, but when your car starts making some mile per hour at 150 mile an hour, that high pitch, it's a lot of drag. It's like holding a piece of plywood behind the car. So the vehicle, the wing is designed for the air to actually go above it and below it, and that's what gives you the downforce, kind of like a airplane wing. So to get the effects of it, it doesn't need to be at an extreme angle. But we're just we've had some experience, but we're still learning. It's still new to us, so we're still in the testing phases for sure.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, that didn't work.
Right? and that's what's great about the sport, is because you got to be innovative and you got to be willing to make changes, because the guy next to you is, and like we're average guys, so we work a normal work week, and then we do this on the weekend for fun. Some of these guys are fortunate enough that they can actually do this. Maybe they have a shop or a race shop, or they just strictly race full time. And for you to be able to race and tune cars full time, you definitely have an advantage. Experience is king in this industry for sure.
And then the long travel front suspension as well, because I noticed that kind of sticking up through the front end there. That's another kind of no prep innovation as well that guys started to use to just really kind of help it. Is that the mostly help with weight transfer, right?
Absolutely. Getting the car off the line. We bought the car. We had a crash. May 21st, 2022. We were at a drag strip, and a guy was, unfortunately, he was drinking. and he hit our car. We hit him he come in our lane, we hit him at 130, destroyed a split bumper Camaro we had. It's really unfortunate. It's a pretty bad deal. But anyhow, we found this car 2 or 3 days after we crashed the other one. Instantly fell in love, mainly because it's a 6.0 chassis, double frame rail chromoly car, and we knew it was going to be safe. You know, that was the big thing. We liked the styling of it. You know, it's chopped. You know, the front end's tapered down. You know, it was an iconic car. It was used in Super Chevy Sunday in 1990. It was built by Jerry Bickle. It was like the second Pro Mod ever built. But yeah, we had, you know, it took us about a year to finally decide to cut the front end, cut the chassis, find people that were competent enough to do it that we were comfortable with. And we had Isaac and his brother Adam Preston at Next Motorsports. They did a beautiful job. Yeah, it was definitely the right move. Definitely helps getting these cars off the starting line. But, you know, anytime you make a major change like that, there's a learning curve. So the tunes that we were using before and how the car was reacting to surfaces is 100% different when you have that long travel. Just like the wing, you know. You know, you get, you know, we've had a couple situations where we've been using that wing at 150, the car's trying to wheelie across the finish line. And that's something as a driver you got to get kind of comfortable with. But it's definitely a lot of fun for sure.
Well, man, it's great to see you back out, and hopefully you keep it rubber side down and pick up some wind lights today.
That's the plan. We're hoping to go a couple rounds. You know, I told the guys, whether we go out first round or we win the thing, the show is going to be exceptional today. There's some really good racers, a really tricky surface. This is what the sport's all about.